Okay, so sorry I haven't been around lately on YouTube. I've just been really busy. A whole bunch of project stuff going on, repairs, and then family stuff as well. So I haven't had much time to produce any videos, lately. Just the editing and stuff takes a lot of time. Particularly like the bike cut up ones. Putting all the little the photos and zooming in and all that sort of stuff takes some time. So I do have the time frame cut up. That's close to being edited, and I've got a couple more which are sort of along the way. So I've sort of been almost doing it in batches a little bit. So so it's coming. So there's a few topics I'd like to talk about in this video, and one of them is the technical misinformation in the media. So, the media is reaching out and providing information to people. That's what the job of the media is. However, sometimes they don't get the information right, and so sort of putting basically misinformation out there. And there's been a few examples. I'll give you a couple of examples. There was the GCN did a video just recently, and they talked about water ingression in the frame, and is it bad? And they said no, it's fine. It just adds a bit of weight to your frame. Well, that's not actually correct. And I posted a little thing on Instagram with some published data showing the degradation of the performance on the composite laminate in moisture ingression. And this research paper was published back in the 90s. So, and it's not new information. And from the aerospace game, it's well known that you seal all the edges and avoid moisture ingression. And that's why you don't see raw carbon aircraft parts. They're always painted and sealed and protected and all that sort of stuff. So a bit of misinformation there. So just on that, with water ingression, I've had all these questions and people saying, "Oh, is it bad then to wash my bike?" Well, no, it's not bad to wash your bike. But it's bad to leave it in a wet state. So after you wash it, just dry it. So it's generally not ideal because the bike parts aren't sealed like an aircraft is. So areas where there's holes, like where the cables go through, or where the water bottle bidon mounts are, they're just drilled straight through the laminate. So that's a path for moisture to get into the laminate. So pay particular attention to those areas and just dry those areas. Have the bike really should have a drain hole in it, so if water comes into the bike, it's got a path out. So aircraft parts have got drain holes in them typically as well. So that's it's common sense. So don't be afraid to wash your bike. Wash your bike. That's actually good, because then you can when you wash your bike, you go through it and see if there's any crack indications on the bike, etc. So it's important to keep your bike nice and clean, so you can see if there are any faults or any indications of damage coming through. The other bit of misinformation that I saw recently was there's the Envy have just opened a brand new facility, and obviously had the media there. Great brand new facility, looks fantastic. I read the article from one of the outlets, and they were talking about the material cutting facility. So they've got these robots basically which cut all the raw pre-preg material, so into all the little shapes that you need. And then they started talking about, and so then they have the stacks of plies, and they're vacuumed down to remove all the air out of the ply stacks. And it's like, well, no, these cutting tables, they've got a vacuum table just to hold the material, because you can't clamp a big sheet of material down like that. So you just use a vacuum table as a clamp, basically. So remember, vacuum is roughly 14 and 14.6 pounds per square inch of pressure. That's a lot of clamping pressure. So you can hold large flat panels, for instance, or material really securely using vacuum. So the vacuum's there as a clamp. It's not there to make the laminate void free at that stage. So that comes later with the vacuum debulking in the mould. So that's a totally different thing. So what else this week? Had a lot of questions from the NABS show, the North American Handmade Bike Show, and there was an Argonaut bike which had been cut up. So I don't know whether people are just sort of going, oh yeah, Luescher Teknik's cutting up all these bikes, and so it's just started a bit of a trend. People are showing cut up bikes. But one thing which sort of was a bit amazing was, there was a nice big void in the adhesive on one of the joins on the Argonaut bike, and adhesive sort of smeared everywhere down near the chainstays, and I don't know. It just looks like people cut up the bike, but don't actually look at what they're showing. And that goes for all these trade shows. Whenever I go to trade shows like Eurobike or Interbike or it's been the Sea Otter and all this sort of stuff, and you have guys and they'll have cut up pieces on display of their stuff, and often you find voids or wrinkles or other problems with these parts, and it's just sort of, I don't know, I just find it a bit odd that you go to all the trouble of cutting up a part for display, and it's supposed to be showing how good your stuff is, and then you're showing off flaws in it. So I don't quite get that. So years and years ago, I went to one of the research labs in Australia, and they were sort of showing off their capability of what they could do with composites, and their demonstration parts were full of voids and porosity. And I said to them, you might want to show some better parts than these, actually. So so it's just the other comment on that Argonaut frame, and I'm not singling out Argonaut by any means, but it's just a general observation. But the frame had a layer of Kevlar or aramid in the on the inner layer, and there's been a lot of talk about that for a long time. It's you put a ply of Kevlar or aramid or Integra or one of these other fibres. You put one ply of that in, and then if the bike fails, then that'll hold it all together. And it's not quite that simple. So if you can break 6 or 7 plies of carbon, one ply of Kevlar is not going to hold the bike together. So if you put enough force to break 6 or 7 plies of carbon, one ply of Kevlar is not going to hold it. So they're basically a similar sort of tensile strength. So the force required to break 7 plies, or 8 plies, or significantly more than one ply is much greater. So yes, the failure mode is different, but you'd need a significant amount of that alternative fibre to meet the tensile load as well. So it's another bit of misinformation. So and it's one thing I get all the time. Can we just put a bit of Kevlar in and that'll stop catastrophic failure? And it's certainly not that simple. So that was one of the other things out of that's been brought up recently in questions and stuff. So the other thing I've been looking at is different formats. So obviously the time it takes to produce these videos is significant. This format's pretty quick because I can just get up and I can talk, and I'm not having to edit anything. It's just basically raw video. So the other week I flagged the sort of the thing about maybe I'll do a YouTube live, and that's something I think might work quite well for this sort of stuff. You know, getting a lot of questions. Yeah, maybe just sort of work on that sort of format. So obviously, I've got viewers sort of all over the world, so it's just a matter of trying to find the time zone. So put down in the comments below, what sort of time zone you'd like to see, or if you'd like to see it, that is, if you want to do that. So I had a few comments when I mentioned it last week, but yeah, let's test this out and see. Yeah, because it could basically give more information to you guys. You get your questions answered. It makes it easier for me. I don't have to set up any production stuff. I can just spit it out live. So, which is sort of like what I'm doing here right now. Yeah, so there's that, the YouTube live. So put in comments below, and likes, and and dislikes. And so the funny thing with the dislikes is it's like almost every single video I've done, regardless of the topic, has got like 1 or 2 dislikes on it. And it's like there's this one guy who just doesn't like what I do, and he's just going, bang, bang, I'm going to dislike that. It's like, whatever. I think it's quite funny that somebody can sit down and follow a channel, and watch the videos, and then dislike it. If you don't dislike it, don't watch it. It's pretty simple. So anyway, on that note, I'll better get back into fixing some of these bikes. It's been crazy. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video. Got a bit of information. As I said, put down your comments on the YouTube live format if you want to do that, and what time, and yeah. With these videos, Friday afternoon's probably not that suitable for me anymore. I've got a change of circumstances with family, so. Yeah, and other people said, no, with a Monday morning, maybe you should flick that and just spend more time on editing other videos. Yeah, look, maybe I'll just do one video a week. I don't know what day it is, but yeah, maybe we can do just a YouTube live. So anyway, enough rambling on from me. I better go do some other stuff. But yeah, comments below. Let me know what you think. Likes, dislikes, whatever. And yeah. Tell your friends, and we'll keep trying to grow the channel. Okay, see you later on. Bye.